Hello, everyone. What was that face? And welcome back to Enter the Ether, the podcast all about the upcoming third-person MOBA Ethereal Clash of Souls. I'm your host, the Mangoose. Joining me, as always, is my friend and co-host, JellyKnees. JellyKnees, how you doing?
I'm good, Mangoose. I just expect another meme-faced incoming now.
Oh, God, yeah. It's coming, too. Because I can make that look angry.
Though.
It wasn't angry, but I can make it look angry.
There you go.
How was your Christmas?
My Christmas was real good, man.
Right on.
Family came into town, all good. What about you?
Yeah, good stuff. Mom got me an air fryer. It's the first present I've gotten in forever.
Welcome to the club, man. Air fryers changed my life.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet. It's pretty awesome.
It's pretty good.
Setting up a trip with my daughter to we'll hike the Appalachian Trail this spring.
Nice.
Take about 2 or 3 days, I think. There's a train station, oddly enough, near my house. So I think there's another hike about 3 days up. You can get off a train station there, take it back down here.
There you go.
So it should be a good time.
Yeah, it sounds like fun, man.
Yeah.
I'm jealous.
You should be. Because it's going to be awesome. All right, so Ethereal. Now, I know what I said about how you guys should probably, work on the game and then release it as you feel comfortable with it. But man, I've been fiending for Ethereal. I've been fiending for it. It's like when Paragon went down. Like, I feel that type of lost. Like,
well, I love hearing that.
Yeah.
Like, despite the double-edged sword nature of a statement like that, right? But that's a good thing to hear. I mean, I totally understand that, because even when we were just doing testing, there'd be nights where I'm like sitting there like, I could really go for a game of Ethereal right now. Like, I really wish we could just boot up a game and just do it like that. Like, it's really cool to see that.
I started playing Conan Exiles again, but like I'm playing it and I'm like, I wish I was playing Ethereal.
Perfect. You and Shad are both sitting there waiting,
twiddling our thumbs,
scratching your neck, asking if we got any more Ethereal for you,
Yep, exactly. So our topic for tonight, what Jelly brought up, was stuff that we want to see, features we want to see in the game. So Jelly, what do you want to see in the game? You're more likely to make it happen.
I mean, I think a big thing that I would want to see is the full implementation of different types of casting. So you have the normal casting for people that want to learn like the distance of abilities and how they work and all those things. You got the instant casting that you just press the button and it fires. You've got the smart casting that has a little bit of intuitiveness built into that. I think it's a big feature that would help a lot of players, but also just be a good feature overall that the game doesn't have in its current state.
100% I agree. 100% I agree. Yeah, that's what I was talking about last time, like range indicators and stuff for like Noxus. Like, if there was some sort of, I guess the targeting reticle I would want for her R for Lightbound Portal would be similar to the lock-on targeting for like Revenant and Paragon or Morgesh, where you at least get...
You had like a half circle outline on either side of them.
And it kind of locks in whenever you can actually hit them with the ability. That would be nice for Lightbound Portal.
Yeah, absolutely.
It still would take some skill to do, because if you hit it at max range, they can pretty easily back away from that and not get hit by the lights.
Yeah. And that's something I'm actually working on, and we've got a couple people working on as well, is those visual indicator aspects, so that when that casting system gets input, then you have the definitive easy way to view that. It'd be one thing if we're like, okay, great, now you have normal casting but no visual indicators to use it with, so good luck. Like
Yeah, right.
So they kind of have to go hand in hand. So that's definitely something that's being worked on right now.
Speaking of the visual indicators, you and I talked about this a little bit. Like the dome that you get whenever you target an ability. I kind of like the dome. I don't like the swirling effect with it. It seems a little overdone. I would rather just a solid, well, not solid, but, transparent dome.
Yeah, no movement.
No movement to it. Yeah.
Which I really like the dome in concept. I think my personal issue with it is that depth is almost impossible, because the way that it is, you'd be looking through it to try and see the other end of the indicator. So if it's the same color or the same shape or something, it's almost impossible to see what that full depth of an ability is, which it makes it hard. I think the biggest one for me that I struggle with is Talos Ultimate. Landing Talos Ultimate is nigh impossible sometimes because of that visual indicator.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Where
that's why I missed.
Yes, that's exactly it, Mangoose. That's to defend the swirl a little bit. I would rather just see a replacement of that design as a whole. But to defend the swirl turning gives you a small idea of what the back of the circle is versus what the front is, because
Yeah.
you can see that difference. But it's very, very, very slight. So
yeah, when you put it in those terms, I think I would just prefer just the regular, like what Paragon had, just the circle on the ground.
the ground indicators, yeah.
Yeah.
Which I think Paragon did it really well. For they kind of made them feel part of the game in and of themselves. It wasn't this like extra added effect that didn't quite fit in, because you had the visual effect aspect and then you had the ground decal that was there telling you what the area was affected by it.
Right.
I think specifically of Gideon ult every time I think of this, where you had the actual black hole pulling things in, but on the ground you saw a definitive circle showing you exactly what the area of effect was.
Right. Yeah, I think that would be good. Yeah, now that you mentioned that, I think that's what I prefer. I said I wanted the dome just with no swirlies. Now I don't even want the dome. I just want the circle on the ground.
Leave it to JellyKnees to be persuasive.
I want circle on the ground, but I do want, still some back
camera,
out, some camera backup whenever you cast an AoE ability like that. Yeah.
Which I think is another great feature that would go a long way in helping the game feel a little bit better, is having that during certain ability casts, being able to move the camera up and get that edge.
Yeah. No, oddly enough, like I did a playing Fault. I did a Gideon video not long back where I was missing abilities like mad. I switched his stuff to instant cast, where I don't even get a targeting indicator whatsoever. It's just kind of getting just a shoot where I feel it's going to hit.
Yeah.
So much better with no indicator whatsoever. But
being able to have forcing that intuitive nature of like, that has to be where I want it to be.
I highly doubt people would enjoy that for Ethereal though.
Yeah, to a certain extent, right? Once you get comfortable in the abilities, I think it's definitely a great feature to have, because then those that know, if you play 1,000 games of Noxus, right, you know what the range of her stuff is, right? So you can get that instant cast and get it relatively down. Something I don't know if Paragon had it, but I know League has, is that if you hold down the key, even if you're on instant cast, if you hold down the key, it doesn't fire until release.
Yeah,
an option you can put on, and then if you hold it down, you actually get to see that range indicator anyway. So it's just another way to provide that kind of feedback for sure.
I like being able to switch that from hero to hero too. Like Heroes of the Storm had cast on release like that. Vast majority of the heroes I just use instant cast. There was Hanzo who could ricochet stuff, but you had to know, you had to have that indicator to tell where it was going to ricochet to. So I would go cast on release with him. So yeah, just different heroes. I think it would be good when Grognard gets released. Knowing exactly where your wall is going to be crucial for being able to play well. Because I mean, there's Revenblade, which I play quite a bit, the little third-person arena brawler, and their tank has a wall that he can just pull up out of the ground. And like, the difference between putting it up in front of somebody or behind them as they're running away is huge. Like,
yeah,
that's a kill or completely preventing a kill,
And that's something for like a wall like that. We can take inspiration from Mei from Overwatch, because she's got a wall that's very similar. And I think her indicator is really good in knowing where you're going to cast that when you use the ability. But yeah, across the board, stuff like that would be hugely helpful in accessibility for players for sure.
Now, Mei's wall, you could actually rotate it. You guys plan on doing that with Grog?
So, yes. I don't know. I didn't play Mei very much, so I know she has an indicator. That's all I got.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you could switch it. You could make it Go straight or horizontal or vertical, I guess you would call it. That'd be cool to have with Grognark as well. Just completely split a team in half.
Just great wall between the two of them. Sucks to be both of you guys.
The problem with that would be half your team would go on this side and the other half would go on that side.
Yeah, you're splitting your own team at the same time.
Oh, I can't wait for Grognark, man.
It should be super fun.
Speaking of features I want in the game, I want Grognark in the game. Rolling around.
I think that's a great one, is just more heroes, more myths.
Yeah.
Right? Is of course, right? We're always going to want more myths.
Yeah.
But having these next handful, I think especially, are going to be huge for the game, because they're going to provide diversity in roles. They're going to provide diversity in just play style. They're going to open up a lot of avenues that the current 7 don't.
Yeah.
Just because they're only 7 characters.
There's a lot to master with those 7 characters, though, that makes them feel fresh and fun. But I don't know how long that would last. You know what I mean? Of course, some people just play one hero and that's all they ever play. Look at me and Richter and
exactly. I was gonna say me and Malaya, so it's the same thing. Yeah. Which I can't believe I'm a Malaya main. After like looking at all of the myths for so long, and we're like, yeah, Talos, Leah, 100%, and now I'm a Malaya main, of course.
I still don't know who's my main.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I played them all and I loved them all. I think Talos is just really fun. I think he's probably the most fun because it's like that crunch feeling of weaving auto attacks into your basic attacks. Yeah.
Yeah. No, like, Talos is up there for me. I think honestly, if I wasn't feeling Malaya, I'd go to Talos 100% because he's just so much fun, and being able to get some of those basic attack resets or just use your abilities in just the right way to maximize your damage just feels so good when it works.
Yeah.
Like when you pull it off. It's amazing.
One thing I would like to see, I don't know how balanced this would be, but I think Leah, her passive, I think it takes too many ability activations to actually activate that. It doesn't feel like it flows with the game.
Mm-hmm.
Like with Crunch, it was 3, and it was like on the 3rd one, and that flowed. Like you could pick your abilities in order to combo to figure out what you were going to do with it. With Leah, you would do 4 abilities, and it was the 5th one that would have like an extra oomph to it.
Mm-hmm.
It just didn't feel like it felt like either they had already gotten away or were dead by the time you had gotten there. So you really had to have that preloaded and note before going into a fight. I think it would feel a lot more intuitive if you could pull it off during a fight.
Yeah, which is absolutely something that can be looked at, right? You just change the number, change the UI, call it a day.
Yeah.
But I probably agree with you. I think that's because right now she's using so much of her mana in order to make sure that that's up all the time. She's running from place to place, just throwing abilities, trying to make sure that's all up, and she burns through her mana really fast because of it. So absolutely something that could be tweaked around and seen with that.
Yeah, I would love to see that. Would love to see that. I think one way to balance it is if it fell off after a while, like Crunch, like you couldn't just hold that 3rd ability forever. Like it would eventually go away. Whereas hers, you can kind of just hold it for forever.
Yeah, it holds until cast, so it's just on there. Part of that's because her abilities take longer to cast than like Crunch, because Crunch were a lot of basic attack modifiers.
Mm-hmm.
So they were a little faster in terms of casting, but yeah, Leah could still use tweaking in that regard for sure.
I mean, you guys are nowhere near this yet, but I would like to see like just like an any pick hero. Like most MOBAs, it's just like a question mark. It's like a silhouette and a question mark, and you click that and it just randomly picks for you.
Whoever it gives me.
Yeah. I would like to see that.
Yeah.
Eventually. I mean, 7 heroes aren't enough for that, but on down the road, that's definitely a feature I'd want to see.
Once you see like probably a roster of 14 where you got 2 in each role, or almost 2 in each role, you could probably add that in as well, just as a way to mix it up for content creators or whoever.
ARAMs would be real easy to do on Ethereal because it's just like
everyone just stays void and call it a day.
Just don't go on ice or fire.
Yeah, no, and I think another new feature that we know is coming, right? Fairly quick after is the new map, right? I think that's going to be a huge shift for the game in just terms of aesthetic of actually having heard a lot of people during the stress test talk about you had the lane selector saying fire, ice, and void, but for those that hadn't seen the videos, hadn't seen anything, hadn't done any of that, there's no determination of those things.
Right.
And so I think that new map is going to help exponentially in that regard. Of you load into the game, you look up, you see a definitive fire lane, a definitive ice lane, right? You can go from there,
Yeah.
and it'll be easier to figure out.
I mean, you have the portals there. One's blue, one's red, and you can tell pretty easily from that. But even then, like a lot of times, sometimes I'll be on a lane and forget which lane I was on. Like call outs too. Somebody be like, "Oh, they're pushing hard in ice lane," and you go to ice lane, there's nobody there. They're in fire lane. It's like, oh god.
Yeah, and whereas the new map is way more intuitive in that
Mhm.
regard.
The mini map seems to be quite the challenge for you guys.
The mini map is going to be an interesting thing. I think that's something that's going to be iterated on handful of times
Yeah.
between now and a full release state, because there's going to be constant feedback from the community, constant differences, and that's just something that's going to have to be worked on over time before it gets to a really solid state. And there's the potential that we just give like 3 or 4 options of minimap and let the players decide from there.
Yeah.
Because in a game like Ethereal with 3 separated lanes, everyone's going to want a different thing when it comes to minimap.
Yeah.
Some people are going to want it on, you want to see all 3 lanes all the time. Some people want just the one lane. Some people want 2 smaller versions, whatever it may be, right? So I think it's going to definitely something that has to be figured out over a length of time with players, because that's not something that we can just determine ourselves. We have what we'd like it to be, but that may not work at the same time.
Right. I do like whenever you hit M or whatever, it pulls up the entire map as a transparency on your screen. That was really nice. Even with the larger map though, I don't think the icons were clearly defined enough for me to tell who was who.
Yeah.
That's something that I think needs to be worked on quite a bit. But again, that's going to be hard to do.
Yep. It's just finding the way to balance all the aspects of that and what works. And like I said, potentially adding some options for players to decide what the opacity is, what the, like all of these different elements that then they can customize it to their liking.
Yeah.
It basically, the way I see it is it basically could come down to crosshairs in first person shooters, where everyone customizes their crosshair to the nth degree to make sure it's exactly as they want it to be. We may end up with a mini map that's kind of like that will have a base version for just new players, but anyone that wants to go down the rabbit hole of customizing it to their personal liking may have the option to do that.
Yeah, that's something I asked for in Paragon forever, and I've asked for in Fault, and I want to see in everybody's game is customizable crosshairs. Makes such a big difference. Yeah, that seems like
little thing.
It seems like such a small thing, but having like the crosshair that you like makes it so much easier to actually hit abilities.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Valorant, that was a big feature in Valorant when it came out, was the customizable crosshair. And you see some crazy crosshairs that people play with. Good for them. Wait, whatever works, man. I think it's a cool little thing. It helps you feel as a player more comfortable and more rewarded for your play at the same time.
Yeah.
Whatever works.
Let's get ADS. Let's get ADS stuff for you already have ADS with Dante, and I can't hit shit with that.
I mean, I think another big feature is the ping or VGS system, whatever.
Oh god, yeah.
That's going to be huge, and that's going to provide its own complications for the same reason of it's not just a single lane game now. It's now multi-layer. It's now you're going to have a ping that says Sky Slayer in the air. You're going to have a ping that said like all these niche things of like wall destroyed, wall reappeared, wall whatever. One thing in that system that I would love that actually I originally discovered in Portal 2 co-op, funny enough, is they had timed pings that were like, so you could set a ping for 5 seconds and it would count down So
Oh, really?
it would count down to 1 and then have like a go at the end of the countdown. And for coordinated team play, that could be huge because
Yeah.
you as a jungler could ping Void Lane with a 5-second countdown, and then that's the exact like moment. It's no longer like just on my way where you're hoping
Yeah.
somebody realizes. Now it's a definitive go now kind of deal, which I think would be super cool.
If for whatever reason, like I did not react to Leah ganks as well as I probably should have. Like I could see her on the minimap just like any other MOBA, but for some reason, because she was coming in from the sky, I just never noticed whenever she was coming in for a gank.
Yeah, and that's something we could add to the minimap as well, theoretically, is some kind of like level indication of
Mm,
maybe it's just like a small icon next to the myth icon showing that they're like above you or something among those lines, where at a glance you can kind of have that quick action to understand what's going on.
right. Well, the way they do it in World of Warcraft, there's something beneath you, like a mining node or whatever, but it's not on your level. It's actually in a cave beneath you. It shows it's a little grayed out and transparent.
Okay.
That'd be pretty cool to do.
Yeah. Yeah, there's so the thing with this game, because of its ambition, is that there's also like 500 solutions to some of these problems that
Yeah.
then can all be tossed into the air together. I mean, we talked about in the past, Mangoose. I would love an FPS ping system in the game as well, where I
Yeah.
can middle click my mouse button on the wyvern and it says fire wyvern to my whole team, right? Like that'd be such a great thing for a 3D MOBA to have that doesn't exist in the other 3D MOBAs in the current space.
Overprime is doing that.
Oh, are they?
Yeah. Yeah, that's one of their
Damn it,
problems.
over again, dude. Literally over every time everything I say or I like think about or I have notes for, like Overprime's doing it. Great, thanks Overprime, appreciate it.
Sorry.
Yeah, seriously.
Well, you know what would alleviate some of the problems with the VGS system is voice chat. Put voice chat in the game. I know a lot of people hate that idea, and there would be a lot of toxicity with it, but as long as you have a mute function, I think it's fine.
I think the issue for us on a voice chat in particular, aside from implementation, I'm just saying if we were to put it in, the issue becomes monitoring that, because it'd be really easy for someone to report you, Mangoose, and say he was toxic in voice chat. And there's nothing, it's going to be he said, she said at that point, because we
Right.
wouldn't have direct access. So in order to, I know that games that monitor voice chats for reporting purposes have to download the gigs and gigs and gigs of voice data
Shit.
in order to monitor that, which becomes a huge cost on top of it.
Yeah.
To be able to store, you have to have a turnaround time. You have to have you have to set up a whole infrastructure around just monitoring voice chat, which is a huge undertaking.
Just do like we used to do at the prison I worked at, and you just listen into various calls just randomly.
There we go. Yeah. We'll just have random Ethereal UG devs sitting in calls and be like, Mangoose is in this game. He's toxic. Ban. Get him out.
That threat hanging over people's heads of knowing that maybe a UG employee is actually listening in on the game might actually cause some people to. Like,
We'll just set it up that when randomly, like at a random interval, we'll just have it say Undying Games representative in chat, like type a message of don't be toxic. Just absolutely just like troll people of like, is somebody watching my game? Like what's going on here?
yeah, that'd be great. People do tend to straighten up if they see like an employee from the company is in their chat.
Are you kidding me? The amount of times that I get flamed, Mangoose, just for being a member of UG. Go into their Discord every day. I type something and they're like, JellyKnees, get them out of here. Chief Gifter, man.
You know what I mean, though. Like if you're playing like a
yeah. Another small feature, right? And we've talked about this in the past too, but I can't wait for it to exist. Is that hit pausing, hit stopping?
Ooh,
mechanic.
yes.
I just, oh man, I can't wait for that to exist, because that's just going to add so much weight behind some of these attacks that I think is missing in its current form. Now, part of that's animations, but I think the hit pausing, hit stopping could be really, really cool for that too.
Oh yeah, that I mean, it looks great in fighting games when you see it in fighting games. That's where it's really noticeable because they do like some huge hit stop animations in fighting games because it's kind of necessary there. Not as necessary in a MOBA, but it will still give you that weight.
Yeah,
Give you some weight. I think sound effects you guys need to work on a bit too.
mm-hmm.
Definitely on hit sound effects.
Yeah, and we've got a guy that's working on some. Actually, I just received some the other day for some of the minion sound effects, some of various things. It was a list of different ones that he's been working on. So that's something that's being updated actively as we go through development, and things we're noticing are missing or need more work or whatever it may be.
Yeah. You're like a Foley artist or something?
I have no idea. I was told to contact him and work with him about sound effects. That's all I got.
Okay then. I can't really think of any other I'm sure I'll think of a million after we're done talking.
I'm sure.
But stuff that I'll want to see in the game.
I think, and this is tied to animations, right? Once we're in full swing with the mocap suit and having a lot of those animations fleshed out and can do some of the more subtle animations, for lack of a better way to put it, I would love to see animations for when people are holding abilities. So in Paragon, you'd see Gideon Rock, for instance, right? His Q, he would bring his hand up like he's ready to cast. And as an enemy, you could see that and have a little more understanding of what's to come, right? You could see him, or Decker Bomb, right? When she holds up her staff and is getting ready to throw. Yeah. It's a definitive stance change that can give a lot of information to the enemy without being super direct and over the top.
Yeah.
And I think that's a subtle thing that can go a long way as well. Now, doing that without it being a huge balance thing is interesting and entertaining, but it's finding that sweet spot.
I think that's one of the reasons that switching to instant cast on Gideon has helped me hit a lot more visibilities, because if his hand it comes up for a brief second whenever you have it on instant cast, so nobody sees that I'm about to try and throw a rock at him. So it.
But if you're standing there walking around with your hand up, walking back and forth, it's pretty obvious. Yeah.
Or hear Rampage with a rock under your arm. Richter with his
winding up. Yeah.
Again, I use instant cast on Richter because the main thing is I don't want people to. It's nice as an intimidation technique. I guess sometimes, like you just walk towards people with your chain up in the air. But I'd rather just hit them with the chain than not see it coming.
Yeah, we saw in the last predecessor stress test, because they added a flash mechanic on every character. Being able to do that and bait out flashes is going to be huge.
Yeah.
Right? Being able to wind up your ability but not cast could be a huge thing for baiting out those special abilities.
The one I would be baiting out in Ethereal is Malaya.
Whatever.
You pull that out and see her pop her bubble, and it's like, now you don't have a bubble.
That's why you just wait. You just hold the bubble to the last possible second, smash your E key, bash your face into the keyboard, and hope it works.
Oh, I think the best counter to her, I believe, is Talos, because he's got the double.
Yeah, because if you break her shield, she doesn't get the CC immunity anymore. So you just use your first E on the shield, maybe a Q, and then knock her up afterwards.
Yeah.
And she can't get away from it. It's one of the worst things when the Talos does it successfully to you, because you're just like, you played that better than you played better than me. I can't be mad about it, but
I mean, it's harder to hit that knockup than you'd think, though, with her swerving around and dashing in and out. I think I'm better at using her dash to dodge abilities than I am using her bubble. Of course, her bubble just didn't work sometimes. Or Ron's grab. But
yeah,
I definitely got grabbed. I had the bubble still around me as I'm being lifted into the air. I'm like, oh man. But bugs are to be expected. I'm not too mad about the bugs.
Yeah,
especially in this state.
Another thing to add, of course, because it's missing, is the marksman class ability.
Yeah.
And I think the full integration with that around the ward system as a whole, of being able to place and destroy wards, being able to do all those different things, I think are tied into that marksman class ability as well. But having a marksman class ability that is a roaming ward is going to be huge.
I think wards need to be about twice the size. as they
Yeah?
are now, though.
But they take up. They already can see so much of those paths.
They can see a lot of the paths, but I just think this map is so much bigger that you need much bigger wards.
Yeah.
I don't think they show as much as other MOBAs do in their current iteration.
Mm-hmm. Definitely, they should definitely show less than other 3D MOBAs. That's for sure.
You think they should show less than other 3D MOBAs?
No. I think they definitely do right now.
Yeah. Like, I stopped using them after a while because I was like, they don't show enough.
Part of the thing with Ethereal is the wards need to have some kind of indication similar to like what Fault does with their wards, in that there's a audible ping when someone walks over a ward.
Yeah.
With the map being so large, there needs to be a more definitive thing, because you already have an extra person to worry about, and then having to also check the minimap constantly for your wards is slightly more complicated.
So
and in a 3D MOBA, say again.
I didn't even realize there was no ping.
Yeah. So it's in a 3D MOBA especially, you really need more of that indication of someone walking over your ward, because you have 500 things you're thinking of at the one moment.
Right. And there's so many more places to look. And again, that top down, you can see everything.
Yeah.
And, 3D, you can only see in front of you.
Yep. Absolutely.
That's the biggest difference between a 3D MOBA and anything else, I think. Because you can tell when somebody's coming up behind you.
In a 3D MOBA, or in a top down.
In a top down, you cannot see that shit in 3D. You can actually sneak up on people. I posted my Noxus game today, and like somebody snuck up on us while we were trying to take a tower.
Yeah, sometimes, it happened to me several times during the stress test where I'm doing something and suddenly someone appears behind me. It's like, wait a second, where did you come from? Get me out of here.
Usually a Ron.
Yeah, usually.
That's one of the best ways to use that Berserker ability, is to break a wall behind somebody, and like if they don't notice that a wall just got shattered behind them, they're never going to see him coming. He's going to pick them up and toss them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ugh. Yeah, that a Ron grab, that's one thing you guys need to work on for big time. Because like I said, it's the most fun ability, but
also.
Ugh. I want to play some Leah right now. That's what I want to do. I want to play some Leah. Because
who'd have thought you'd be the Leah guy?
I know, right?
I
never had zero interest in Leah before the game. But like I see what I've like watching my gameplay, I see what I did wrong with her and like how I could have done better with her, and I want to try again. I want to try again.
That's what it's about, man. He's getting better.
Yeah. And there's a lot to improve. There's a lot of stuff to improve with Ethereal. I've been editing all these videos, and yeah, I'm like watching. I'm like, why did I do that when I could have done this? There's a whole lot of that involved. Also, another thing, I was doing my Talos video the other day, or earlier today actually. His bleed. That is massive. It is such a wide range.
It's insane. You ult into the middle of a team and press R. I guarantee you hit every single one of those people.
There's a part where I'm ganking Leah because she's trying to back, and I'm walking up, and like her back animation is almost over. I'm like, well, let me just hit R and hopefully I'll hit her. Oh yeah, I was well within the radius of hitting her.
Dude. Oh, it was nuts. It's
nuts, yeah.
And it also used to be just as tall as it is wide. So you could hit things way above you in that same regard. Yeah, it was so much fun because you'd see a Leah flying overhead, spin around, and she's suddenly bleeding.
Man, I want to see. I can't wait for some sort of hook hero like Richter or something, so I can pull Sky Slayers out of the air.
Oh, dude, that's gonna be so. Can you imagine the feeling of a Sky Slayer? You see Leah preparing to do crashing dive, and you're just like, nope, and yoink her down in front of you first.
Oh yeah.
It's gonna be so good, but it feels so bad at the same time.
And like knowing that I have like a whole bunch of health and like jumping off the edge and hooking somebody.
Oh my, Roadhog hooking people.
Yes.
Great, here we go.
Yes. I don't even care if I die. If I can get a Roadhog hook on somebody, that'll be sweet.
I found out before the stress test. I was messing with the Reaper's climbing ability, and being in combat, jumping off of a lane and perfectly grabbing a rock as I fell. So I would avoid fall damage, still be in combat, and just climb up and bait somebody to jump off after me and die. I was
Ooh.
messing with like the perfect like iterations of where to do this on.
There's so many different techniques to perfect in this game.
Oh, so many. It's ridiculous.
And with it being 6v6, that opens up a lot of other possibilities too, like combinations and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, right now the most obvious combination is just wait for a run to grab somebody and then unload on them, but there's plenty of others too. Like I was playing with a Leah, and I was playing Noxus, waiting for the Leah to land the knock up, which is almost guaranteed when people don't see her coming, and like throwing the sigil down as they're flying in with the knock up, so they get rooted right after they get knocked up. That's a deadly combo right there.
Yeah. Some of the combination of hard CC is insane.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, Talos especially, because he can hard CC into hard CC and then bleed everybody.
He can set himself up for a huge win in any fight.
Yeah. Like my biggest problem with Talos though is I don't have this problem on any of the other ones, but I hit R when I want an ultimate.
Because his R feels like an ultimate with how wide it is and how everything
does.
you get for it. Talos, dude, Talos 100% was underrated in his last stress test, because I think people were they hadn't figured out how to play him yet. But the second someone starts figuring out Talos, he's just gonna shoot up in like this guy's gonna dominate.
So powerful.
He's so good.
Yeah. And his jungle clear, like I'm definitely taking him jungle now. Because even without having a mark, I was able to jungle quite well with him just because his clear is so damn fast. If I had a mark, well, I was
Yeah, if you build Sentinel's Mark on Talos, where you can get the AoE smite, and then you can just bop camps one by one, just 1Q smite, 1Q smite, 1Q smite, and just rotate through these camps like nothing. He turns into a power farming monster.
Yeah. Oh, that's gonna be good. He'd be a good option for a solo jungler then, I think. If you wanted to go the solo jungler route. Now that's a problem that Bearded brought up, that he says that he found Ethereal confusing because you guys haven't like instituted a meta like your own. Like you don't tell people that duo lane needs to go here, or this person needs to go here, this person's a mid lane or whatever. I like that. I like that people are figuring it out as we go along. But I do see how that would be a problem for a lot of people.
Yeah, it's from a experienced player perspective, having a developer not force a meta is refreshing and nice. From a new player perspective, having a developer not reinforce a meta is beyond confusing and is going to lead to a lot of issues.
It's going to lead to a lot of 2v1s, yeah.
And so that's something that we're going to have to look at, is actually creating that definition, but making the game in such a state that if experienced players want to mess with that definition, they can. And it's finding that balance of doing those two things.
I think that's definitely one way of doing it, is having a Talos as your solo jungler, and then having two duo lanes and one solo lane.
Yeah. And something, I mean, that's been discussed before, you and I have talked about it, Mangoose, is the potential that once there are more supports in the game and various types of supports, you could easily see a power farming jungler with a support following them around.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that'd be neat.
Because you build a mask, you get passive gold income as the support, but then you've got them helping to, like, an enchanting support that could give increased damage to an ally or something like that. Could be huge for a solo jungler.
Man,
like Talos.
Now I want to do that with Marina, because I mean, you could set up one hell of a gank with her. Like you slow them. Her Riptide is huge. That's a huge slow that would allow Talos to get on top of them. You know, he hits them with both of his forms of CC, and if they start to get away, then you just Siren Song and pull them back in.
Yeah. And future supports, there's in every MOBA, there's an enchanter support that buffs an ally.
Right.
In every single one. When Ethereal gets one, that's going to be even more of a thing.
Yeah.
Right. So It's going to be really interesting to see how that all plays out and works together as time develops and as new characters come out.
And I personally don't mind doing a 2v1 when I'm the one, you know.
Yeah, I think if you are comfortable and you're prepared going into a 2v1, it is definitely doable.
Yeah.
There have been several games that I've done, like Noxus against the duo lane, and that you have to play safe, but her wave clear is good enough. She's got the range on her that she can sit back, play safe, and hold her own against that 2v1. And I think that that's perfectly okay. It's not oppressive in one direction or the other.
Right.
It can be if you get behind or either side. I've seen Noxuses dominate the 2v1 lane, and I've seen Noxuses get dominated in the 2v1 lane because it's about managing your resources, managing your health, all of those things.
I think Leah would be good going against two people because she has a pretty good escape and engage if she needs it, but she has like her life steal on her E, is it? I think.
Yeah, her empowered E.
And yeah, she's got pretty good wave clear. I think Leah would be fine for that.
Yeah, she definitely could be a laner. There was a point in testing that she was basically being played exclusively in a lane and was dominating because of it. So we had to find ways to balance her to be usable in a lane, but not significantly better than in the jungle.
Not
at the
overpowering,
same time.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, she's just a fun character overall. Can't wait till Zero now. Now that I like Leah so much, I'm looking forward to Zero a little more.
Yeah, especially with the theoretically ranged and melee aspects of Zero, being that the characters use what they have.
Yeah.
It'd be really cool for sure.
I want to see him do a strafing run.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be so rad.
Oh, that would be a great Sky Slayer. Somebody that could drop bombs from like way up.
Do like a helicopter myth that's how they fly around. Or, a wolf that spins his tail and flings two-handed swords at people. I mean, I don't see a problem with that at all.
I don't either. I mean, that's a great idea that should be implemented immediately.
Yeah, absolutely. The next character, guaranteed.
Damn straight. Been waiting on that one for a while.
Yeah.
I'm just glad you got the Grog Wall in there.
Yeah, man, dude. Yes, absolutely. I'm so excited for Grog Roll, man. It's ridiculous.
Somebody asked me if there was gonna be travel mode in the game. I was like, well, Grog's gonna roll.
Grog has travel mode. Perfect.
Yeah. Oh shit. I think I'm about out of stuff to talk about. You got anything else?
I think that's it. So I meant to talk about this last week and I completely forgot, but I think you'll love this, Mangoose. Overnight, when we issued the patch for the stress test, a bunch of the testers, we got on, we tested the patch. Once we shipped it to live, we got on there, made sure it actually shipped correctly and loaded into a game.
Mm-hmm.
It was like 3 o'clock in the morning when we were doing this. So very few people were on the game. In general, we had told them servers were down. We hadn't announced that they were back up yet. So we were all loading into game. We all get into a game and there's one random person on both teams. So what we decided to do, and all the testers are in a call together. What we decided to do was we played Protect the President and both teams surrounded their random. And if the random died, then we all had to go die. Like it was just if the president's dead, we got to go under tower. We got to jump off the edge. We got to do whatever the thing is.
That's amazing.
We spent like a 55-minute game just following around two people everywhere they went.
And they were probably wondering what in the hell is going on,
dude. Then afterwards, we went in the community Discord and pinged one of them, the guy that won between the two of them, and pinged him. And we're saying like, it was an honor, Mr. President, and did the like salute in the Discord. It was so funny, man. He was the guy that was actually the president in one of the games and that won was in one of your videos because the testers started sending it around saying, look who it is, it's him.
That's awesome.
Oh, it was such a cool moment of like, we were just trying to make sure everything worked. Right.
But you don't remember who it was though?
It's something like One Winged Angel or something like that was the guy that won. And we knew that they were confused beyond all reason because they have 5 people following around their every move.
They probably wonder why the team keeps getting wiped too. Like, I know I
Oh,
died,
dude,
but why did all of them die?
it was so much fun.
Yeah, that's awesome. That needs to be just a mode.
That's what we were saying too. It's like this has to be a thing where one person's randomly selected as the president. You gotta protect them at all costs.
Oh shit. All right, well, let's start wrapping it up. Jelly, you got anything to plug this week?
Just my stream, twitch.tv/JellyKnees, Marvelous Monday, every Monday at 8 o'clock Mountain Time. Had to lead it up that time. But yeah, that's I think the only thing for me. What about you, Mangoose?
I got absolutely nothing to plug. Oh, talked to my brother over Christmas. He has a PhD in executive leadership. I thought it was in marketing.
Oh, okay.
But I would like to get him on, and probably with you, and either do just a standalone thing with just the three of us, or maybe part of For the Minions or something, and just pick his brain about the different styles of leadership that are being used by the different companies and what it means for like the investment backing and stuff.
Yeah, I would love that. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, he's down with it.
Really good conversation, just in general.
Yeah, he's a fun dude. We'll have to.
Well, I mean, he's your brother, so anything's better than you.
You're gonna be amazed at how much younger he looks than me, even though he's like 5 years older.
Noted.
All right, that is going to close it out for this week. I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. We kind of shot from the hip a little bit. Jelly came in hot with a topic, but we didn't even have a topic before that. Thank you, Jelly.
No problem. That's what I'm here for.
But yeah, that is going to wrap it up for this week. Thank you for coming out. Thanks for watching the show. If you're watching it during the premiere, thanks for watching it on YouTube if you're doing it there. And thanks for listening. If you're listening to it in podcast form, all those links will be in the description below, I guess, Jelly.
Hang on. We've never talked about the fact that our podcast was like whatever it was, the top gaming podcast in South Africa. We've never mentioned that since you found that information out.
Number 2. It was number 2.
Number two. So if you're in South Africa listening to this, welcome. We're happy to have you here. I don't know how that works, but we take it.
Either South Africans really love Ethereal or they just hate gaming podcasts.
A little bit of both, I'm sure.
All right, guys. Thank you for coming out. And I hope you all join us as we enter the ether.